Hi there. I just did 4 TV shows for my dad in his studio. He asked me to share from my book, Happy to Be Me. So I just finished up on those. So I still have TV makeup on. I thought, hey, I'll do my faith talks while I still look good because this is about to be wiped off. You know that I don't normally look like this. But I thought, might as well just use the makeup. I wanted to share something with you that happened to me recently, and it's just a good reminder for you if you're a parent. A few months ago, if you watch my Faith Talks, I think 2 weeks ago, I shared with you that a few months ago, I was just in this place of just dryness. I wasn't even sure if I was a minister anymore. I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I just kind of put a pause on everything. Well, I finally got my gusto back and my word from the Lord, and I'm pushing forward and moving forward. And shortly after that, my dad called and asked me to do 4 TV programs for him, which is a great honor and a great platform to get to do that. So immediately when I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to stop, questioning, and I'm going to do what you've called me to do, I got the phone call, and then I started back on Faith Talks. But in that, I want to share my point today is that my daughter, Madison, I only have one daughter. I have 5 sons and one beautiful, amazing daughter. And at the time of this recording, she's 25 years old and just an amazing person. She's everything I prayed she would be. In fact, this book that I wrote, Happy to Be Me, at the front of it right here, let me see what it is. I dedicated this book to her, Madison Elizabeth, my one and only daughter, because I prayed that she wouldn't be like I was growing up and struggling with insecurity and low self-esteem and all those things I dealt with. Anyways, I say all that to say that my daughter, she helps me with my social media and with this Faith Talks. And so a few months ago, she had some ideas for some things. I went to her and I was like, hey, I feel like there's some changes I need to make, or I'd like your opinion on some things. And so we were talking about doing some different, she goes, I've got some ideas for you and some topics I think, we should do. Well, then I said to her, I don't think I'm going to do anymore. I think I'm just not going to do it. And she said, okay. And so there was a couple of months there, I just didn't really do anything. And then when I got that word from the Lord that, no, you keep doing what I called you to do. What was the last thing I said for you to do? And that was for me to do Faith Talks. He said, well, that didn't change. Who told you to quit? It was me. I decided to quit. Well, then I told Madison, okay, here, I'm going to do these. And she said, so you're back? You're doing Faith Talks? And I realized what an example I am to my daughter, that I could have been a quitter. And I didn't like that thought. And even though she's a grown woman, I thought, our kids are still watching us. And that's my point I want to make to you today, is that our kids are watching us. Our kids are watching us when the pressure's on. What are you going to do? Our kids are watching us, maybe they may be young or they may be grown, but they're still watching us. How are you going to handle a crisis? Because they're watching. And you and I need to make a determination that we're going to lead by example, that we're going to be a godly example to get up and keep going. I feel like today, Madison was on the set with me as I did those shows. I feel like I was an example. I want to start crying. But that I was an example to keep going, to not quit, to not give up, to push through, even when the enemy is telling you opposite, even when the pressures and the thoughts of quit, it's not working, or whatever those thoughts are that he suggests to you. I had thought maybe I shouldn't be doing this because I'm not getting enough likes or enough followers or enough people watching. And I was setting an example for my daughter to quit. Thank God I got right back up. It was only for a short time, but I got back up, got back in my calling, what I'm supposed to do, and I pray today that she saw that she saw a mom that didn't quit, a mom that didn't give up. So be that for your child today. Be the example. Set the example. You know, when I was growing up, you know, my dad, Jerriann Savelle, to me is the greatest preacher in the world. He traveled most of my childhood and I rarely saw him. We only saw him a few days a month. But you know, when he was home, he led by example. He didn't preach to us, to my sister and I. He didn't, you know, he wasn't this religious person, you know, walking around with his Bible all the time. He just lived what he preached. He lived it. He walked in it. And I wanted to be like my dad. What I saw in him, I wanted to be that person. He led by example. So remember today that even if your children are grown, they're watching. They are watching how you handle situations. Are you going to fall to pieces? Are you talking doubt and worry and anxiety and fear and frustration and what are we going to do? Or are you staying in faith? Are you saying, no matter what, I'm staying in faith and I'm not a quitter? Is that what they're seeing from you today? We all make mistakes. We all get off course. We all stumble and fall on occasion like I did. I got a little distracted, but I got back on course and I pray that my daughter saw that today. Proverbs 22:6, the New Living Translation, it says, direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. We have this set time to raise our children. You know, they're at home, they're watching us, they see what we do. And I saw it this past week when I had my granddaughter all week with me. They're little sponges and they mimic and do, you know, she would do what I would do and she would say what I would say. They're sponges. They're listening, they're watching, but they're also listening and watching as they get older. They're still watching. How's mom going to handle this situation? How's dad going to handle this situation? And remember, you're their example. You're the one that God brought into their life to lead them to Christ, to lead them to the answer, to lead them in the right direction so that when they're grown and on their own, that they're not going to waver off the path that you led them on. I hope you're getting that today. One more scripture, it's Titus 2:7, and it says, you yourself be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. It says, be an example and do good works of every kind. People are watching you. They're watching how you respond to crisis, but most especially your children are watching. So make sure that you're doing the right thing, the God thing. You're not giving up. You're not quitting. You're not talking doubt. You're not talking unbelief. And they can see that having done all to stand, you're still standing. I hope that blesses you today. Make sure you write something in the comments and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Have a great one.